Good evening, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. I see you there, Big E. Phew, I'm out of breath. I had to run to the door for a second. I started stuttering. I guess my Wi Fi was not working because I had the door shut. Gotta love Wi Fi. Hope everybody is good this evening. Shannon was going to be with us, but she is hung up at a doctor's appointment. Uh, Eldon card ink test on the way. You're going to test your blood type? Is that what you ordered, Big E? It's not that hard to do. Um, just follow the directions if that's what it is that you ordered. Why is the internet going crazy here all of a sudden? Anyway, hope everybody's doing well this evening. We're going to wait on a few people to get in here before we get started. If everybody knows, which most of you do, know Mike from the chat. Hey, Diana. I want to send out a prayer request for Mike tonight. Mike's not doing well. He has, to my understanding, he has pneumonia, and I think he's in the hospital. Dave sent a message out to us this morning. So everybody keep Mike in your prayers. We got to get Mike better. Chat's just not even the same without Mike in here. We love us some Mike. Mike is always there. He is a great help to all of us on here. So send your prayers up for well-being for Mike, that this pneumonia clears itself up and he's back home happy and healthy before long. Um, Diana, I got to say, if you don't know, if you haven't checked out Diana's YouTube channel, Diana makes copper jewelry, and I am extremely excited that I might be on a waiting list for a piece of it. It's beautiful, guys. Handmade copper jewelry. Copper has more benefits than most of us will ever know. We'll probably only know 1% of what this world is by the time we leave here. I have spent my day trying to watch the same podcast in between horrible phone calls with people that just don't want to be helpful. So everybody's got a little bit of the Roxy Rapture today. Hey, Rapture Ready. Hello. Now, you got to set a reminder. You can't be missing us on Tuesday nights. And I'm sorry, guys. Shannon isn't with us tonight. She had a doctor's appointment, and it got pushed off to later. And now it's going to take a couple of hours. She was going to try to join by phone, but that's a lot for Shannon, especially with her on the West Coast. Our time difference tends to um, cause us a few issues here and there, but we try for the best part to get it together. It's a little odd having your best friend on a whole different coast in a different time zone. It makes things difficult because when I get up in the morning, I got things to tell her. She's still asleep. Uh, Thank you, Diana. I'm glad I'm on the waiting list. She's trying to get through her holiday orders, but I've seen a piece you got on there, and I need a his and a her set of those because I've got somebody that really needs one as well. Well, today we are going to talk about blood, as we normally tend to end up back at this subject somehow. I am absolutely fascinated with blood, and because of what it is and what it does and what it holds and what kind of secrets it may have and where it came from. Um, and I actually spent today trying to watch a podcast, and I've still got part of it to watch. Um, I don't know if any of you know who JT follows JC is. I'll flip it up on the screen so you can see. This is him. This is his name right here. JT follows JC. He's one that talks about us being in the little season and the history of it. And on this podcast I was watching, he actually gets into a lot of it, of how the Romans changed the calendar and possibly advanced 700 years on us. And if that 700 years is as he says, we may be in Satan's little season, but I'm watching it. I'm listening, discerning, taking some notes. A lot of things seem to make sense. But anyway, back to blood. I was reading the other day. I like to pull up scientific studies to see what they have and have not studied about blood and what it does. Um, One of the things I came across the other day, and this didn't matter what blood type it was, Rh negative or positive, O, A, B, AB, whatever. If they take a blood sample from an individual and put it in a test tube, and there's bacteria, some type of infection in that blood, normal bacteria that you have in your blood, took the blood sample and put it in one room while they're watching it under a microscope. And they took the person who the blood belonged to and put them in a different room. If that person was watching a horror movie, scary movie, something with fear or fright in it, the bacteria would win the fight in the blood. But if that same person was put in a room and they watched something that was happy or made them laugh or made them feel good, the white blood cells took over. So that simple test right there shows us that all of this television that we watch with the programming is done for a purpose. And if that fear, we already know what they do to children in a state of fear to how shall we say, what is the word in the lexicon, to withdraw from them for that product that they like to sell. That's based on fear. And if they're selling it to the adults on the television, and I've noticed a lot lately, and I have people in my life who do this just as much. They watch all of these true crime podcasts and horror movies and all of these horrible things. Imagine what it's doing to your blood. If watching that fear-mongering stuff actually lets the bacterial and the viral infections and things of that nature, hey, Carol, take over in your blood, just think about that. They know exactly what they're doing. And all of these things that we find out that our blood, the actual red blood that comes out of you is possible of when it's not even in your body. And yeah, they're looking to harvest. Okay, I try to look at humans from a cattle standpoint. If if your prime target, we're going to say, is a pre-puberty or early pubescent child, and you are trying to harvest that, we're going to call that AC, that chrome stuff. We're going to call it AC on the lexicon so we don't get banned for saying the word out loud. And yes, fear equals cortisol. In adults, did you know that cortisol will actually eat at the tendons and the muscles in your body? As women get older, and some men, but women and men tend to hold their anger and stress differently. Women tend to hold it inside. A lot of times a woman will be stressed out or just stressed in general, and she tends to hold that inside. And that causes your cortisol levels to increase. Well, when your cortisol levels increase, that's when we all start seeing that spare tire around the middle when your body's not burning fat. But the cortisol factor of it, I gotta put that phone on mute because I think Willie just went to texting. Um, Cortisol, high levels of cortisol will actually eat at the tendons and muscles in your lower back, your knees, your shoulders. That's one of the reasons when you get older, you're starting to notice so much more joint pain. It's not actually arthritis all the time. High cortisol levels cause it because it's actually eating you from the inside out. As if we don't have enough enemies in the food and the water and the air. Now we got to worry about what our own body's doing to us. But they have become so slick at all of this stuff they're putting out in the radio frequencies and the television and the music. Think about how many songs you listen to that are angry music. And every time you turn around, I mean, we've all got songs when you get mad or You're thinking about something that happened in the past. You've got that angry song you listen to. That Think about what that angry song is doing to you, because anger and stress cause your cortisol level to go up, which means when your cortisol level's going up, your body is not fighting off all of this crap that you're ingesting. So not only are they feeding it to us in the water, in the air, and in the food, then they're turning around and the things that they're putting in us, they're hindering our bodies from even fighting against it and detoxing it, because what they're putting on our televisions for us to watch. There are so many people now that are hooked on these true crime. This crime is horrible. I don't care whether it's interesting as to, like, listen, okay. I live here in South Carolina. I don't know if y'all know about the Murdaugh murders or not, but I gotta say, I've watched quite a bit of that because I found it interesting. But you're sitting there, and I've even found myself trying to think more about this. I found myself sitting there watching a television show based on the death of a mother and son and the misery of that family. And watching that kind of misery can't be good for your body. Um, yeah, pop music is a psyop. Yeah. I can tell you some things. We'll get into rap music in a minute, Diana. Hang on a second. I'll even make a note on that one. Yeah, rap. I put a circle around it. We'll get back to that one. But if everything we're looking at and hearing and listening to is negative or fearful, and it's causing your body not to fight off the things that are being fed to us. Yeah, the trials, it is awful. And if we can look at medical studies where they're actually taking the blood from a human and they separate it from, we'll call it the human as the host. They separate the blood from the host, and depending upon whatever the host is experiencing as to how that blood reacts, and it's not even in your body anymore. Imagine what kind of reaction for the blood that is still in your body. This is like a mother with a child. Our military done this horrible experiment one time. I read these documents that they took rabbits, and the rabbits had babies. They used rabbits because they breed really fast. They took the mother rabbit and the baby rabbits and separated them. They put, I can't remember which one stayed on shore and the other one went in a submarine. They wanted to see if the mother rabbit on land could, or sea, whatever it was, could tell that her offspring had been killed if they were undersea in a submarine, if the parent would have a reaction miles away, and it did. The mother rabbit knew instantly when her offspring had been killed. And this is why you hear mothers knowing that something is wrong with their child, like instantly. Like mothers know. Not all are in tune that much, but a lot of us are. And it has to do with chimera because there's genetic things that are left behind. We talk about these. Um, yeah, we're not going to talk about that much. We talk about these things that mothers experience when they're pregnant, or they. I didn't realize this till the other day when I was down this rabbit hole. You know how some women have bored straight hair, they get pregnant, give birth, and then all of a sudden they've got some kinky hair, or all of a sudden they've got freckles where they've never had them before. That is the father's DNA. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That is the father's DNA. Those changes in a woman's body physically that's visible, freckles, curly hair, skin tone may change, lots of things may change. That is from the woman uptaking the DNA genetic material of the father when she's pregnant with that baby. Sorry, I got sidetracked looking at Diana's comment there. You're killing me, Diana. Hang on. I got you. But it is wild rapture of what our blood, even being outside of our body, still reacts to what's going on in our mind. This blood was in a whole nother room, and it was dependent upon whether the host was watching a funny movie or a scary movie as to how the bacteria could react or not react on that blood. This is the article that I was looking at. Let's see if it'll show the screen. This was the one that I was looking at the other day. Let's see if I can. Oh, see these two samples right here? This one on the left, it seems to be glowing with the blue green. That is an RH negative cell. This is up under ultraviolet light. These are RH positive with the rhesus factor. They look in a completely different way than the RH negative does. Now, whether it's because the D antigen isn't on the outside of the blood cell, I don't know. But they look completely different. And this gives you the whole testing process of how they did it. And this is a whole lengthy paper. And y'all don't want me to read all of this out because it's a whole bunch of scientific mumbo jumbo. And I probably didn't understand 20 for, well, we're going to go 50% of what I was reading without having to have it translated. Um, but there are things with our blood that we don't even realize. You know how you hear all the time that your lineage is in your DNA and your DNA has memory, and if your DNA, if your blood can be in a completely separate room and have a physical reaction and it's no longer attached to the living organism, your blood's got memory. Your DNA has memory. And all of these, word on the lexicon is sticky pokies, are mRNA, which will alter your DNA structure. Well, one of the things I've run across looking at DNA, you have two strands of DNA in your body. Each strand has exactly 72,000 proteins. What do you get when you add 72 and 72? 144,000. You know how those numbers out of the Bible keep repeating? A pure human structure that is unaltered has 144,000 proteins on two strands of DNA. There are these things called telomere caps, which is where a spot on our actual DNA structure has been capped off. That particular spot where it's capped off is what controls the length of our life. So, for some reason, our DNA was capped for timeline purposes. Triple helix. And there is to the actual blood coursing through our veins that is hidden from us. It is, the more I dig into what blood is and where blood came from and whose is whose, and so then I start looking at the genetics because back when my dad passed away some years ago, some members, my mother, and wanted to do the 23andMe. I was asleep back then, didn't know what 23andMe really was about or tracking, but I did it. Okay. But because I've done it, I can now see all of these genetic anomalies because I have O negative blood, which is kind of rare. My dad's last name was Gask. When I go back and check the historical documents, my great great, however many greats that was, grandfather, who originally came into Charleston's last name was Basque. He was from the Pyrenees Mountains in Basque, France, which is on the borderline of France and Basque, or France and Spain. The majority of people in the world with O negative blood, that's where they live at. They all still live as a collective right there in those mountains. There are a few of us that have scattered out through time, relatives moving. It They have their own language, and if I go look at the people in Basque, Spain, they all look like my dad. Like, they all look like well, I guess they all look like me because I look like my dad and my dad's mom. And it's just kinda crazy, like, the strong genetics that are connected to this Rh negative bloodline. You can most of the time pick somebody out. There are a lot of things about Rh negative folks that seem to be different. Some of us have an extra vertebrae in our back. A lot of us complain of lower back pain. I was told my extra vertebrae, due to these wonderful people in white coats that are so educated and trained, I was told at 13 years old that the reason I had a horrible backache was it was a birth defect. Yep, it was a literal birth defect because I had an extra vertebrae and it was fused to my pelvis, is what I was told. Now the weather's trying to tell me that we got a crappy forecast for tomorrow. Sorry, but there's a lot of things like medicines don't work on us like they should. Anesthesia doesn't work on us like it should. A lot of us have these hexachromia eyes that are green or blue and look gold sometimes and can actually change colors. Almost kind of reminds me of one of those vampire movies, the way their lights were different and fluorescent. But what I'm saying is there are so many different things about Rh negative, but there are some very, very unique anomalies within that blood, which are very traceable back to where they began. Um, well, now Rapture, that back pain, if you're Rh negative, have you ever had anybody to count your vertebrae? Yeah, that's something unique. Count your vertebrae because some of us, yeah, pain meds ain't gonna work. Neither is anesthesia. It just ain't. Like when I when I went through cancer, they looked at me and they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Sorry, not helping me." I can't even have surgery anymore unless it's an absolute medical emergency because of the quantity of propofol it takes to even make me drowsy. I have way I I had to have surgery one time and a couple of minutes in, tried to tell that doctor he wasn't a regular surgeon. I was having a hernia repaired and tried to tell him, I'm like, look, dude, you're gonna have to give me more. I know I'm a little old teeny 5 foot something woman, but I can promise you what you gonna give me ain't gonna do me no good. Well, I think about 30 minutes after they rolled me out of the, pre-op room and into surgery, my daughter got a call that she needed to come back because I had blacked the doctor's eye and had slapped the nurse while on the operating table. All I can tell you is I told you so. I told you from the get-go. Ain't gonna work on me. So if y'all ever hear, because I love me. I'm not gonna be harming myself at any point. But if y'all was to ever hear that, like an overdose of something was how I did it, they lying because I can't do that. I don't think it's possible. Most of the time to get well, chiropractor could check them, but most time a chiropractor is gonna do an X-ray or an MRI, and they could check them out and see how many you got. Some people actually have an extra rib, which is kinda strange when we know what we know about the Bible. But, some people with Rh negative have an extra rib, some have an extra vertebrae. A lot of us have some weird things that go on. Yeah, I can't there's which I don't take medication anymore unless it's an absolute life or death, and I don't think I have any other options. I literally spent a good part of my afternoon out in my yard with my phone taking images so I could Google search what they were, and I actually found a very interesting plant in my yard. It's ugly. I don't like it, and so I was gonna have it dug up, but it's called a yucca plant. But it's very interesting, helps arthritis. Uh, third gold strand, 216, 216, 660. Okay, I got you. 12 back surgeries in the last 40 years. Oh my goodness, Miss Carol. Uh, yep. use that. That works better than anything else. I'm telling you. I went through cancer treatment and I was young. Um, and when I went through it, when I finished with my cancer treatment, I went from a healthy woman who was running a major franchised Isuzu commercial truck dealership. I was top dog other than the guy that owned the place. I went from doing that, working 60 hours a week, to being diagnosed with cancer. After cancer, I didn't have enough energy to get up off the couch, and I was taking 27 pills a day by the time they got done with me because nothing worked in my body. Nothing ever has. And so they just kept upping the dosage and upping the quantity. Well, I was having hot flashes and everything else. I had a hysterectomy back in my early 20s. So I had already done the menopause thing back then. And it kind of like re triggered after cancer. They had me on such a high dosage of an SRI that I had the personality of cardboard. I mean, like a piece of cardboard probably had more personality. And I feel sorry for my ex husband because it probably didn't help anything in that relationship that all I wanted to do was lay on the couch and eat Oreos like for a year. I did nothing with. They had me on a dosage of an SRI that they give manic schizophrenics. I think they normally start you out on the one they had me on. I think it was the Fexer was the name of it. And it was supposed to be like 75 milligrams. Before it was over with, I was on like 400 and some milligrams. Most people just lay in a coma. But I finally got myself off of them. And when I got off of those, the world changed. And I went from there to cannabinoids. And they ain't no more 27 pills a day. Never been in a hospital my entire life. No doctors for me so far. Good for you, Miss Diana. I wish I could say that. I honestly do. But long before I knew what parasites were, unfortunately, they yeah, affects her some cardboard personality kind of stuff. It's kind of like Seroquel. You ain't having no happy thoughts, no sad thoughts, no nothing. You just lay flat on your back in a bed or on a couch or sit in a chair and watch TV and eat junk food. I mean, just that's it. And to this day, I have side effects from all the chemo drugs and all the other drugs they gave me. And the chemo destroyed my teeth. And then it took forever to find anybody that would do anything about it because one of the chemo drugs they give you actually causes what lower jaw degradation in bone density. So if they try to fix anything in the bottom, it could crack your bottom jaw and then it'll never heal. It's been a lovely ride, and all that happened in my late 30s, early 40s. Gotta love those white coats. Didn't know what parasites was then, but unfortunately, whatever that parasite is, runs pretty heavy in the groundwater of where I was born and raised. I lived in the same neighborhood pretty much from the time I was born until I got married. Um, and my sister and I went and got a big aerial map and plotted out all of the houses in the neighborhood that were eat up with cancer. There was a factory there where my dad worked, and they took raw cotton and made thread and yarn out of it. And my dad said back in the 70s they would take a big barrel out back in a ditch, and just wash it out so they could reuse the barrel. They had no idea what they were doing to the groundwater. So it's a combination of chemicals and parasites. I feel sure. But me, my dad had it twice. My mom has had cancer once or twice. Now I'm talking about internal. I'm not talking about skin cancers because that's a whole different category. And in the neighborhood, there is my niece, several of my aunts and uncles, our neighbors, everybody around us. And it was every kind of cancer you could think of: lymphoma, Hodgkin's lymphoma, lung, stomach, intestinal, kidney, bladder, brain. I eventually lost my dad to brain cancer. But you're not going to tell me that everybody within a 2-mile stretch of a neighborhood got cancer? Just coincidence? No, never. There are no such thing as coincidences. Let's see. They involuntary committed my daughter this past week. It's a long story, but they lied and said she was suicidal. She just drank too much, and we tried to tell them she's not suicidal, but they kept her. They shouldn't be able to hold her but 72 hours unless she's a danger to herself. Um, be careful. Don't let them get away with that rapture. 7 days. She's autistic. They wouldn't listen. They gave her meds. How old is she? Rapture. Just curious. Is she above 18 or 17 or below? Because that can make a difference in how some of this stuff. And don't be scared to. And listen, guys, I know there's only 12 of us here at the moment, but don't ever be scared to reach out to us as a group. If you're going through something and you need some assistance, some advice, prayer, whatever, make sure you reach out. Reach out in community on YouTube, reach out directly by email. I try to answer them when I get them. If I don't answer it right away, don't think it wasn't because, I didn't want to. Um, she's almost 21. Well, she's an adult. If we can look into it, what state are you in, Rapture? Don't never deny who's in this crowd or who has what occupation in here that may be able to give an answer or a word of advice. So make sure you tell in the group, tell it in. We're here for each other. That's what the whole point of this is to build a family. Yes, Diana, parasites, black walnuts. Just FYI, if anybody would like some, I have 7 acres full of black walnuts falling off trees. These things sound like missiles when they're coming down on my driveway. I will be glad to box them up and send them to you for just the price of shipping. Near Columbia, well, you're not that far. No, you're not far away at all. So you're in South Carolina. Hard for us to find out what kind of laws we need to be looking into. Um, wish you could move. The beach ain't no better down here, sweetheart. We are absolutely overrun. We They have run all these ads for move to Myrtle Beach. Well, then that pandemic happened and everybody could work from home so they could make New York money and live in South Carolina at South Carolina rental prices, and work from home at their New York job. And we've got so many people here now that we don't have enough cops or ambulances or anything, and our crime rates are soaring. Our car insurance has gone up. My grandkids go to school 2 miles tops from the house, and it took me 20 minutes to get there this morning. It's just insanity. I mean, it's like literally right across the road from me. It's insanity that it takes that long to get anywhere. I was born and raised right here in the same town that I live in now. I keep coming back to it. I've moved to surrounding towns and I still keep coming back to this one, so must not be that bad, huh? Um, yeah, we can look into it. I'm more than glad to look and see when I could help you find any information, Rapture, if you need it. I have an autistic 30-year-old, so I know that I would, well, I'll wear a jumpsuit any day so one of my kids don't have to. Grow their own food and people that are awake and that pray and just have their own little community. It's hard to find anymore. This house that I've just moved into has been an absolute blessing because there is a greenhouse here. And that's what I plan to do with it is I want to grow some food to give away to people, in the community that are like us, that are like-minded or anybody that needs it for that matter. But I would like to grow, and it's not a huge greenhouse, and I've never had one before, but I want to experiment at growing vegetables and, things of that nature. Um, Honey, I'm here for encouragement anytime. I don't know if my advice is worth the 2 cent that I give it to you for, but I'm more than willing to look up legality and law, and we'll find a lawyer that'll give free consultations if that's what we need. Don't never have no doubt. I'll put my people on it and we'll find somebody. To be sure there's somebody out there. Uh Back to what we were talking about. Sorry guys. We were talking about television and music and how it's affecting your blood, and somebody made the comment about rap music. I posted a thing this morning on my community talking about how public schools and prisons seem to look a lot alike. The bus they transport them on, the building that they're in all day, the trays that they eat off of. I found out today that my grandbabies at lunch are not even allowed to talk. That they have like this loud elevator music on in the lunchroom, and the children are not allowed to talk, which I find that to be very strange. So I'm gonna speak to my daughter about that. I'm usually one to let her handle it because, I don't know if y'all know, but Roxy don't do filtered real well. I tend to come off, like, wide open and blunt. I don't mean to. That's just who I am. I'm sorry. I'm not one for hiding or sugarcoating things. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just not good at sugarcoating. Yeah, they're little prisons. The people, they we're not allowed to use that word anymore. And we were calling them J boxes, but I think now we're calling them Capri Suns to get around the lexicon. Yeah, you can't go to the bathroom without somebody giving you a pass or holding your hand. Those people actually own the music industry. Well, we know this from all of the Diddy stuff. Did you know those are the same people that own the prisons? They actually take the test scores of third graders and estimate future population off of those. The same people that own the prisons own the music industry. And I've read the documents where, part A and part B, the music industry and the prisons, they're kind of owned by the same conglomerates. And prison population was not as high as they wanted it to be. So they actually told the rap music industry that they needed to be pushing more guns, drugs, and violence. Because the more of that they pushed, the higher the prison population would be. They're already estimating it off of the third graders and their reading levels as to what the future prison population will be. And if you want to know something a little more twisted than that, Bob Barker of The Price is Right is the one that owns the foundation that actually sells the private prison system, the shoes, the socks, the uniforms, the everything. It is a private industry that Bob Barker was selling all the goods for, that is owned by the entertainment industry, that puts out all this information on the television in that programming. Yep, Bob Barker. Little old Bob Barker that says you need to spade and neuter your pets. Well, that same old fart is the same one that's selling them orange slides in the county jail. Okay, public schools. Oh, I know we started out on this on blood, y'all, but I'm on a roll tonight, and y'all is my people, and I can have this conversation because I'm talking to people that are awake and well aware. Public schools. The government pays somewhere between ten to $18,000 per child per year to be educated. Yep, per year per child. So we gonna average that. Let's say $15,000. That's a nice round number. $15,000 per child. All right. My daughter has two children, school age. That is $30,000 a year. Why not give $20,000 to a parent and $10,000 at the most? Maybe less. Give 25 to the parents and 5. because any child can be educated online through the internet now. You don't need a teacher because most of these teachers ain't teaching nothing, and what they are teaching is a constructed lie that they were told by the people that constructed the lie. They can't even get carbon dating right on most of this stuff. And we know who wrote the textbooks that educated the teachers, that educated the people in the white coats, that has educated everybody and told them what the story and what the history was. We've all led it all back to the same box of Capri Suns. You ever heard that story from Paul Harvey? If I were the devil? I'm breathing because I get so mad about this. That you have parents out here who are struggling to pay the rent and buy groceries and send their kids to school. This is why if your kid doesn't show up to school, you end up in a truancy hearing. It's got nothing to do with the education or morality of your child. It's because if that child misses too much, their money gets docked by the federal government. They get shorted their money by the federal government if your child is sick too much. If Why not give that money to mom and dad? How much benefit would it be in a household, which we know all they've ever tried to do is break the family unit? If you took mom and dad or mom, whichever one, I'm not sexist, I don't care. Whichever one leaves the house and goes to work. The other one stays at home and educates the two children, in which the government gives them the $30,000 a year that they would normally spend in public education. That parent can then take that $30,000 and put it towards the house and the food and the groceries and the necessities and needs of those children. When's the last time you saw a textbook? I got a third and fourth grader in this house. I ain't seen a textbook in a while because when they get to school, they got an iPad. The iPad don't come home. You don't know what they're teaching your kids. I have asked my grandchildren every day when they get off the bus, "Have a good day today? What'd you learn?" You know what the fourth grader told me today? He learned how to play Jingle Bells on the piano. That's it. That's all I ever get. Like, I know they're not teaching them the truth because they're teaching them the same canned spam they taught us. And now we have found out that 99.99999% of it is bull. It's bull from the timeline they taught us about history to where we are now. Archaeology, geology, geography. Every bit of it's bull. The maps are crap. They didn't even teach us the right map that we live on, what shape the earth is, about space, about NASA. I mean, we could go on all day long. These people are messing with our children. They're trying to break the family unit. People talk about slavery. Sorry, guys, I got long winded. Now I got dry throat. I was watching a thing this morning about slavery. You know, we're still slaves, right? We are still slaves. Slaves were indentured servants back in the day. They worked all day, and for their work on the plantation, they received barely enough food to eat, some crappy accommodations, and you worked for it. Well, today, you go to work all day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and you get a check. So you feel free. But you have to turn around and take that check and pay for your food, your housing, your clothing, and then what's left over, you get to give it back to the government. Explain to me how that's not slavery. It won't be slavery when somebody out there can make a product and I can have a product or service and we can exchange it without anybody else getting into that. Oh, so now, Rapture, you're going to get me started on pagan holidays. No, that's not Jesus' birthday. It ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. Because when Jesus came into this world, it told you the shepherds were in the field. The shepherds would not have been in the field in December. Y'all just getting me all stirred up this night. The fall of Tartaria. Okay, that podcast I was showing y'all a while ago, that's, let me see. Hang on. Oh, no, that is not what we wanted. That is the wrong screen. That was Daniel's. Hang on. Screen share. This one. Now, come on. It's dragging, guys. This one right here. Bible proves we live in post-apocalyptic era. I am listening to this, and I have listened to JT follows JC for a long time. He's very intelligent. I'm not saying that I believe everything they say, but I like to listen. And he talks about the devil and who he is and who he was and what he's supposed to be and what the Bible says he is and how they have corrupted and conscripted this new calendar that we live by. And they added 700 years to it. And that was all because some Roman emperor was told that, the next emperor, he couldn't be emperor until 1000 whatever. So they just added, 700 years to the calendar. No biggie. Uh, Rapture, are you really you wanna get me started off on that one? That is a unique one. And no, I don't doubt that that date didn't have something to do with it. But if you look in the Bible, it tells you, the shepherds were in the field. Shepherds would not have been in the field in the middle of December or the end of December for any reason whatsoever. They just wouldn't have. So the whole time construct of Christmas and Easter, a good portion of that's based off of a pagan holiday of the Vikings. The red and white Santa was based off of advertising for Coca-Cola. Um, and it was based for consumerism. That's what this Christmas holiday that we have is based off of. It's based off absolute obsessive compulsive consumerism. And that's why they make everything disposable now. Yes, they've changed his name, they changed his birthday. When you listen to Paul Harvey and he tells you, "If I were the devil," when you listen to that, if up is down and left is right, which is exactly what the devil has done, has lied to us, how can we even trust where we're at in a calendar if the calendar was changed by the devil himself? So, sorry. Everything we have been taught in a educational system was an indoctrination of lie. They can't even tell us the honest to God's truth about what our blood is, what our blood is capable of, and where our blood came from. Every one of these uh, pharmas that come in the little bottles with refills on them, every one of them has been copied from nature. You can take a plant, just like this ugly yucca plant I found out here today. I think it's ugly, but it's actually called Adam's needle. Adam, Adam, as in Adam and Eve. It's called Adam's needle. You can take that plant, the leaf of it, the once a year it gets this evidently this big beautiful bloom on it, the roots of it, the bark of it, every part of it, it cures or helps arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, digestive issues, and it is an absolute wonderful thing for people who have burns because it is antibacterial when it's used as a salve and it will actually help cure burns. Good night, baby. grandbaby come here and tell me good night. Yeah, Santa Claus. I don't know about that one by Magic Mushroom by Eric Dubay. Um, the one I heard about the pagan thing was, and I think I said this the other night, was the Vikings were a community who yes, soursop's really good. They had community coloring parties. We know we don't say the SE X word out live on here because grandchildren running around anywhere in the house, you never know. So we call it coloring or wrestling. That's what one of our viewers calls it, wrestling. But they had community wrestling parties. That community wrestling party was when we mark Easter with rabbits and eggs. Eggs fertility. Rabbits, well, we know what rabbits do. So in April, when the rabbits of the Viking, the actual people, had their wrestling party, 9 months later puts you at Christmas. Directly before the first child, because everybody wrestling together, so you don't know whose baby is whose, because they was all tangled up together. The first baby that is born from that wrestling party is sacrificed. Prior to that, a couple of nights before, we're talking about people who live in a place where it's very, very cold, very, very snowy. The shaman would go and collect the little red and white mushrooms, like the ones you see in Super Mario Kart, would dry them in a cedar tree previous to the next day's ceremony, would drop them in a little bag through the smoke hole in the yurt. The people would get up in the morning and make mushroom tea. Some woman would have a baby and they would sacrifice it while they were all high as a kite on magic mushrooms. Ho, ho, ho. There's your tree, there's your ornaments, there's your fat man in a red suit, and there's your baby that they talk about at Christmas because it weren't Jesus. Thanksgiving. That's another one of them pagan holidays. I don't know if it's necessarily pagan, but you celebrate people coming over here, slaughtering with genocide a whole natural culture of American Indians. Why are we celebrating Thanksgiving? Those people were here long before we were. They had trade routes set up with India and China. They were trading furs and tobacco and all kinds of stuff. They had trade routes set up. But yet, these colonizers, which were us, came over here and said that these were some, you know, natives that, were just, living in the woods kind of people. And we took their land and we slaughtered them systematically. And the ones that we didn't slaughter, we re educated in our schools and claimed it to be Christianity. Well, the Jesus that I follow, I don't think he'd have been cool with that. How about y'all? Because that dude that I've read about, he said, be like me. Don't follow me. Don't worship me. Be like me. Love like me. Treat others like you want to be treated. And coming over here on a bunch of boats with some horses and slaughtering everybody that lives here is not being like Jesus. So, no, thank you. I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving no more. Not none. Grandchild of Pocahontas. That is awesome. I am searching down my genetic lineage one step at a time. And it is a slow process going through these genomes. I have found one allele anomaly that goes way back. And as far as I can tell, it goes back to about 32 AD. Um, Shortly after JC himself was crucified, there's a genetic link over in France that I'm investigating because I don't know the truth in it and I don't know what the the provenance is of the connected genetic marker that I found as to who they say who they're claiming this anomaly belonged to, and until I can prove it, I don't know. I need to see it in writing. That's just the way I am. I miss Shannon tonight, guys. Well, hello there, private sojourner. Oh, good to see you. Haven't had a chance to speak to you. I think everybody's been running in 100 different directions lately. Yeah, I mean, I'm as white comes. I mean, like I can't stay out in the sun very long because I will get crispy. My people came here. Um, well, one of my great grandfathers was Daniel Cannon. Danny did a Daniel done a backtrack on him coming into Charleston. My other grandfather came here from Basque, France, um, directly into Charleston. So both of my grandfathers actually came here from foreign countries into Charleston, South Carolina. And we miss you too, Tracy. We got but a couple hours away from there. And literally, one of the first plots of land that my grandfather bought, I'm probably within a 30-minute drive of it right now. And my dad's family kind of lived in that area up until the 70s when he left there and moved to another town over. But yeah, we came here as a foreign people on other people's land and created genocide. And now we have a Thanksgiving feast once a year. I don't know. I'm just calling bull on that. No, there is no color. I believe that in my soul that there is no color and there is no nationality. The difference between a white person and a person of color is how much melanin is in their skin. Literally. How can you judge another person because they got a little more one chemical in their skin than another? That's like judging a person because they got blue eyes and you got green. I mean, that is just insanity to me. But that has been programmed into us to divide the left from the right, the red from the blue, the top from the bottom, light from dark, pink from green. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all about dividing us. Santa is Saturn, an ancient Roman god and ancestor to Moloch. Yes. See? Yes. Every bit of it. Every bit of it. The tree, the garland, the mistletoe is disturbing symbols. Yeah. Because it's talking about group parties and 9 months later to have a baby and then they and then they do the same thing with that baby in them Roman things that them people over in Hollywood is still doing. It ain't ended. They just got much better at disguising it. These are the same monsters worshiping the same monster. It's just a bigger monster. It's all the same monster. All bad monsters. I don't use sage anymore. I used to, but I've learned some things about sage that sage can actually invite things into your home. I actually picked up my sage stick today because we're in a new house, but Daniel has blessed this house. He came here the other weekend and did a house blessing for me. But I don't use sage anymore because to my understanding, and there may be somebody who has more knowledge on this than I do, but sage can potentially invite some things in that you don't want. So can a welcome mat. Uh, oh goodness, girl, how long you got on bookkeeping? I live for bookkeeping. I am a my. I just enjoy financial auditing. But give me a text me the next day or two, private sojourner, when you're free, and we'll set up a time to get together and get some of that whatever you need done. I'm always here, guys. I am currently unemployed at the moment and looking for a job. So anybody knows any good work from home jobs, shout at your girl. I'm looking for one. Uh, dressing, not stuffing. I just use olive oil. I'm sorry. I must have missed something there. Yeah, must have missed a comment. Hey, Cash. How are you? Good to see you in here. For anybody who is here late, I need all possible prayers to go up for Mike. He's one of our moderators. And Dave let us know this morning that Mike is in the hospital fighting pneumonia, and his oxygen saturation levels are evidently pretty low. So I need absolutely every single prayer that you can muster for Mike tonight. Mike is a good guy, and he is awesome, and he helps us all. So I need everybody to say a prayer for Mike tonight and pray for each other because we are living in a world that is just absolutely insane. Like I said, up is down and left is right, and you don't know where to turn anymore. Yeah, I'm looking for an online job because I just do not want to go back into the rat race. I've looked at a few, and I'm at the point where the majority of these jobs are somehow healthcare related, and I ain't interested in it. I don't I don't want to work for the healthcare industry because I find it to be an absolute farce. Thank you, ladies. I am If I have to, I'll go into doing bookkeeping for myself or do taxes for the tax season. But hopefully before long we don't have any more income tax. But we shall see. I don't believe it till I see it. Okay. Um I don't think Fax is here. I have gotten up with Fax, nothing but the Fax. He went MIA on us for a couple of months. He's over in the UK. He was kind of our UK person over there that we touched base with for reality. I actually heard from him a couple of days. And again, their time is completely different than our time, so we tend to miss each other. Has anybody noticed gas prices changing in your area? I have seen reports online of gas prices being below $2 in some places, and the price of crude oil, gasoline, LP, heating LP, all of those, the bottom was falling out of them this morning, but yet gold and silver are going through the roof. Yes, Biggie. I don't miss children that much. Oh, I'm sorry you're not having grandbabies. They are in absolute love and a terror all at the same time. Now, my daughter had two. My son, who is autistic, said he does not want children, not now, not ever. Could I go have surgery or help him get surgery to fix that because he doesn't want children? But that's just the way he is. Um, 257 there in Kansas. I haven't got gas in a couple of days. It was like 290 here for a while, but I've been seeing some reports that it that's kind of weird. We're sitting here talking about gas and the weather, and all of a sudden I get a notification pop up, which we know these things are listening. But no, let's get all keep an eye on your gas prices and report it back to each other because I want to see if they truly are falling. Yeah, if you want to let your spouse know what you want for Christmas, just take their cell phone and start whispering to it what you want to hear, and the ads will start popping up on their phone. Pro tip, ladies, for your husband, take your husband's cell phone and start, telling it what you want. The ads will start popping up on his phone and give him ideas. I mean, you might as well use this to your advantage, right? Gotta learn how to use the programming against itself. Has anybody else got anything they want to talk about tonight? Um, I want to make sure that this all started out about blood, and I had a presentation, and Shannon was going to be here, and she couldn't tonight, which is fine. But just remember that everything you watch or hear is affecting how your blood is working in your body. And remember in the Bible when people needed clarity, that they would take off and go into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. No food, no sound, no people, no nothing. Silence. What's RH negative? Um, that is a blood type. Either you are RH negative or you're R or you're positive. If your blood type is O negative, you're Rh negative. If your blood type is O, you're not negative. Rh negative is a missing, so to speak, antigen on the exterior of your blood cell. Most people have them. A very small percentage of the world, only like 13% of the world's population does not have them. And if you have O negative blood, I can only receive O negative blood. Anybody can take mine, but I can only take my own kind. It's just one of those strange things. And those of us with Rh negative blood tend to have some really strange phenomenon. Extremely high IQ, extra vertebrae in our back, weird eye colors. I'm a human lie detector, and I can walk into a room and somebody can be talking. I don't even know them. I can tell you whether they're lying or not. I don't know what it is. I can tell you if you're lying, if somebody in the room is lying. I've actually looked into that because there are a lot of people that report it, and a bunch of these psychologists and everything else say that has nothing to do with, Rh negative or whatever, say that it's like an extreme pattern recognition, micro expressions. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm a human lie detector. Like I can walk into a room and feel when something's off and tell you who's lying. And I might not tell you that I know you're lying now, but give me a week and I'm gonna put all the pieces and get all the receipts. That way, when I tell you I know you're lying, and you say, "No, I wasn't," I'm like Candace, baby. I got the receipts. Let's look at them. I just tend to be one of those people who's very blunt and very honest. I spent a long time in my life telling little white lies to get by from day to day, to make things easier to survive certain situations, and I will never, ever do that again. Because if you have the ability to lie to others, it means you are not willing to take accountability for your own actions. And if you have to lie about it, you know that that action was wrong. You can't. I heard this spoken so well the other day, talking about things that have happened to you in your past, or transgressions that have happened against you, a parent or a spouse or an old boyfriend or a stranger for that matter. Like years ago, I got carjacked. He didn't actually get the car. He got his jaw broke. But anyway, he tried. I forgive him. I forgive anybody and everybody who has ever transgressed against me, spoken a bad word about me, prayed for my failure or my downfall. Good for you. I'm sorry that's how you feel. I pray for you and I forgive you. Because how can I ask the big man upstairs to forgive me of all my previous transgressions if I cannot forgive those who have transgressed against me? And that leads you back to a point of the rearview mirror and the windshield. If you are constantly looking in the rearview mirror about everybody that's ever done anything to you and hurt your feelings, or you can't look out the windshield if you're looking at the rearview mirror. Absolutely. There is no apology with the word but in it. And if you can't, no, there's no lying after awakening, Diana. That is the best said thing I've heard in a long time. Thank you so much for saying that out loud. There is no lying after the awakening. Because if you can still sit here and lie about simple things or anything for that matter after the awakening, I don't think you're awake. I'm not lying to anybody. And I'm not going to hide who I am. And I hope y'all don't ever think that I hide who or what I am. I am very honest about who I am. I'm a 50-year-old divorced mother of two who is at a whole different place in her life, because 6 years ago I would have told you I was an atheist. And I have done a complete 180 from that moment forward. And I was raised in church off and on. Went to Pentecostal holiness. I went to Baptist. I had an uncle who was a preacher, and just since I've awakened since that pandemic, it's a whole new world for me. And I'm telling you, I spent 20. I was married 25 years. We were together 27, so probably 23 or 27 years. I probably spent a good majority in little white lies. Um, just trying to get by, just trying to survive. And wasn't that I didn't love him. I just don't think that two 16-year-old children should be making life decisions on their future, because that's when we met. And a few years later, we were married and had kids in a house. And I was raised in an environment where you didn't get divorced. You didn't walk off and you didn't leave. You stuck it out. And I did. We did. And he went through a lot with me, don't get me wrong. He went through cancer with me. He stood by me. He toted me back and forth to the bathroom and to every doctor's appointment. But you're not the same people at 40 that you were at 16. And there's a lot of resentment and angst, and those little white lies bring that. But at this stage of the game, I ain't lying to nobody about nothing. I am me. I'm who I'm going to be. And what y'all hear on here is me all day, every day. Let's see. You cannot lie to me. Universe, multiverse. Once you know, you know. Yeah, you can't. There's no need to lie. Why do things that you need to lie about? And if you're lying, you can't take accountability for the decision you made, because you're not man or woman enough to own up to the fact that you made the wrong decision. We all make bad decisions. We all do. I do. We all make bad decisions. It might have been a decision of which way you went in traffic to get somewhere because it took too long, or you made a bad decision and spent too much money, at Walmart on Christmas decorations, and instead of paying a bill. I mean, we've all made it. Put own up to it. Say it. I screwed up. As long as you can say you screwed up, you're all right. You ain't got to lie about it. But I'm at the point in my life that people who want to lie and get diabetes, you don't have a spot in my life. There is no place for you, because I will not surround myself with people with diabetes or other issues. Because my grandma used to say, if you lay down with dogs, you'll get up with fleas. And I ain't wearing no flea collar. Yeah, you got to keep it real. Yeah, they claim they got a cure for cancer, but we've had the cure for that all along. You just don't ever have to get it. We're the only continent on Earth, whether you want it to be round or flat or square or triangle, that does not treat their citizens with an anti-parasitic medicine. And just for reference, I know we've been way off track tonight. Um, there are lots of other countries out there that do not operate like ours. Libya, that dude named Gaddafi, they don't have any homeless there, right? There are lots of other countries out there that don't have homeless people. No homeless people, no homeless veterans, no homeless people with mental instability, PTSD. Did you also know that there's a treatment in Mexico that you can go take? It takes 10 days. You could be addicted to some of the hardest drugs there are out there for a long time. You can go to Mexico for 10 days and be a total new person. Addiction is gone. You have a whole new outlook on life. Rife technology. Yeah, that's frequency. Everything in this world is frequency, folks. Everything. Everything. Energy is frequency. Sound is frequency. Everything around you and even you are made of energy. Everything made of energy vibrates. Everything that vibrates has a frequency. These cell phone signals, that's frequency. Your Wi-Fi, that's frequency. Look at some of these things, the somatics where people put sand on a speaker and turn on different sounds from the radio. If you know how to tune in those frequencies, you know how to tune in these human antennas. And believe me, they know how to tune into us. They know how to tune in and how to damage. So they do it in the water, they do it in the food, they do it in the air, they do it with the TV, with the radio, with the cell phone. It is coming at you unrelented 24/7. So you know how you have to be. You got to stay prayed up. You got to stop watching these horror movies and these crime documentaries and all of this stuff that's just looking at things that aren't happy. You need the curiosity and love and light of a child. Kids should never know any of this stuff. They should not be watching crime documentaries. They should not be watching horror movies. Kids should be watching happy stuff. They should be outside riding bicycles and climbing trees and fishing in a pond. Because the moment you tune them in to an Xbox with Call of Duty and you put a gun in their hand and they're sitting there just pow, 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 scattering blood, guts, and gore all over the screen, what are you doing to their DNA? Oh, yeah, you can take tuning forks at certain frequencies and stop Parkinson's disease in its tracks. I've seen it. Look up tuning forks, folks, and what they can do. This gentleman has Parkinson's so bad that he could barely feed himself. They found out that a frequency with tuning forks, when you hit the fork and you put the fork up against his chest, the Parkinson's would stop. So now he has a permanent frequency thing that he wears on a necklace that like sticks to his chest. It has all but stopped his Parkinson's disease. No, children shouldn't be watching TV. Not unless it's something that the parents are, aware of what it is. And I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. My kids are grown, but my daughter, my son, and both of my grandchildren live in the same house. Well, I say same house. This is a big house. But we decided instead of living separately that we would combine our living situation. So going from what I say is two mediocre size houses, we just went to one big one. Combined the bills. We're actually saving money. We got one light bill, one phone bill, one internet. Where we had two of each of all of those. So even our rent got cheaper. And we upgraded to a huge house that is actually one, two, three, four, five, 6 bedrooms. So it's actually 5 bedrooms and a podcast studio. That means a large home. I know how hard it is to keep them off of devices, off of tablets and video games and televisions and radios and to monitor everything. Um, yeah, yeah, we watched Lassie and Flipper and Andy Griffith. These kids are watching crap on Disney where you've got transgenders on there pretending to be cats. If you're not guarding what your kids are watching, you're just opening the door for the devil. That's just simply what it is. If you believe in God and you allow your children to watch some of this Disney crap and you're not paying attention, you just opening the door. Uh, let's see. So you don't think that opens doors? What opens? So I don't think that what opens the door. The new age stuff. Okay. Tuning forks. That's just frequency, dear. That is frequency. Rife technology. Um, the everything around you is a frequency. Everything. Everything vibrates at its own frequency. Everything has its own electronic signature in that frequency. Willie and I done the thing one time where you can take a voltage meter like you would test an outlet with and grounded it, and I touched it, and I was 50 something. He did it, and he was 70 something. Well, when we grounded it and he and I touched each other, it kind of averaged out. Well, when we let go of each other, I stayed at the upper, which I was a 50, he was a 70, so it averaged us at 60. But yet when we let go, I stayed at a 60 and so did he. But before long, mine dropped and his picked back up. Everything is an electronic frequency in this world. This is why Daniel put out a good, I think it's called Operation Radiation. Um, every time they've had a major change in how frequency was dispersed throughout the world, we had a pandemic. When I think it was when they turned on actual radio, frequency back in the day for everybody to get a radio signal. And there was the Spanish flu, the bird flu. Just so happens that last pandemic's when they turned on 5G. So if your body is broadcasting a frequency to your blood that is in tune, even if said blood is in a separate location of your body, your energy, your consciousness, your thought, your frequency, good vibes. Remember, vibes are a frequency. You're either in a good vibe or a bad vibe, like, whoa, dude, you're messing up the vibe. Okay. That scary vibe lets the bacteria in your blood take over. A good vibe, the white blood cells take over and your warriors go do what they're supposed to do. That frequency, that vibe between you and your blood exists between you, your blood, and the world. Everything around you. This is why they wanted you to take lead paint out of your house. Lead paint stopped the signal. They wanted the signal stopped so that they had more control over it. Your body is just a big old antenna. I don't know if you know that or not, but your body is nothing more than a big old antenna that they're trying to tune into. That mRNA crap that was in that sticky pokey is just a way to tune the frequency a little more so that they can alter your DNA to tune that sapsucker in like a radio station. The more they can tune you in, the more they can control you. Yes, the pandemic of 1918. Diana, you own it. You should have been on here with me tonight, girl. You should have took Shannon's place because you own it. Yeah, and if any of you guys want to come on the show, you want to sit here, you got a subject you want to talk about, we can do it. We can do it. You got it. Absolutely. You let me know what night you want to be on, Diana. You pick the subject and we'll make it happen. Yeah, I'm not about somebody instilling fear. Fear has one purpose, and that's for the person instilling it. They're drawing something off of it. And somebody drew attention the other day to the fact of welcome mats and saying you're welcome. When the word welcome, you've seen in all these vampire movies and everything else, like you had to invite it into your house, you had to welcome it in. Even in New Orleans, where they say they have such a vampire problem, um, let's say that somebody drops something, their keys, and you pick it up for them, and they say thank you, and you say you're welcome. You are welcoming that person into your being, your presence. So be very careful. If you have someone who is slick enough that they're out there trying to harvest energy, just be aware that something that simple could cause a problem. Don't say you're welcome. Say no problem. No problem. Have a good day. Stop saying you're welcome. Welcome means to invite something in, and we don't need to invite nothing in because there's enough of that crap out there trying to get in anyway. It's like all the little monsters knocking on the door. We're not supposed to live in fear in this awakening. We're supposed to live in knowledge and brotherhood and love and light. Oh, yeah. The mRNA is already in food. They are already vaccinating the tomatoes and the lettuce. Because there was a congressional hearing the other day, and the guy says, "Okay, well, if y'all were going to put this in the food, how do you know how much lettuce I'm going to eat at my size versus my spouse, and how much lettuce they're going to eat, and what is considered the dosage that we're supposed to have?" And this was how they were trying to bring it out in Congress that this was happening. Like, how do you know this is a medical thing? How do you know you're dosing people right? They were trying to get it out in Congress. It was a whole thing. Um, Plain King's English and legal English. Absolutely. I learned a thing the other day about if the word starts with, I have to go back and look at it. It's like a vowel and a consonant, like AB. That word was actually meant to mean no contract in a contract when you're looking at legal English. But I had to pull that one up and reference it. Yes, salads are supposed to be good for you. Beware of the salad you eat. I would suggest that everybody start looking at what you're eating and where it comes from. Um, Shannon says I just got done, and she's sending me a cry face. We missed you too, Shannon. Let me see if she wants to pop in. You wanna pop in? She's in the car. She said she's gonna try to join us from the car earlier, but evidently in LA, when you go somewhere, it takes 3.5 hours to get home from across town. No, thank you. It's hard enough to get to the school and back around here. She said she can try. No big either way, girl. But we miss you. She was upset that she weren't gonna be on the show tonight because we had talked about this. But yeah, and what is the one thing that they push towards your children? That breakfast stuff and all them little boxes with the cute little characters and all the pretty colors. They're not even allowed to sell those in other countries. Absolutely. We should all have a pop in and chat night, guys. I tell you what, next Tuesday night at 7:30 for our regulars, I will post a link, and anybody that wants to chat, we'll get on and have a chit chat for a minute. Uh, but absolutely. If, like I said before, if somebody out there's got a subject you want to talk about, and we can do it, we can make it happen. I got a platform right here. May not have a whole bunch of viewers, but the more we share this out and like it and subscribe it, the more we'll get because we're trying to build. I'm Eastern, baby. You over there with Shannon, private sojourner. I'm on Eastern. So normally on Tuesday nights, I start at 7:30 my time, and on Thursday nights, Shannon's show is 9:30 my time, so it must be 6:30 your time. I think we're about 3 hours apart. Absolutely, Rapture. Let's get on the air. Let's talk it out. I don't care what it's talking about. You want to show us how you bake your grandma's biscuits? By all means, sweetheart, get on here and show us how you bake your grandma's biscuits. Because I love learning to cook. Tuesday nights at 7:30. I usually try to get started about 7:30. I try to stay on schedule, Diana. Diana has some fabulous things she can show us because I've seen some of her work and I am super impressed, peoples. When the holiday season gets over, y'all gonna have to hit Diana up. Yeah, 4:30 your time. We can always move the show or adjust it if it's better on other people. I mean, if we need to pull off a Wednesday evening show, we can do that too. If you got a subject you want to talk about, the floor is open. Let's talk about it. You got knowledge in an area I don't. Let's talk about it. Teach me something. Let's discuss it. Let's learn it. Uh, Entering the Christmas portal next week. Alrighty. Let's see. Only shop on the outside roads of the grocery store. If it came in a box, eat the box. It's probably healthy. You are right, Cash. Eat the box. It's probably healthier. I don't care what it is. Eat the box. Girl, we could take your C prompt computer and my eidetic memory. I think we could probably rule the world, girl. There ain't no telling what to do. But if we were in the same physical space at the same time, I've talked to you on the phone. I know what we could do. We could just take over. We would just take over and show 'em how this is supposed to be done. The Shannon is here. Oh, if I can get her
Please.
on screen. Hello, Governor.
Hello.
We've missed you
I'm
tonight, Governor.
well, I am going to attempt to drive home from LA while doing this. So woohoo, let's go.
I I thought you had a driver.
I did, but I am, multitasking and letting her not drive because I'm being. Hi, everyone.
Well, we've been on air about an hour and a half. They're saying Shannon, Shannon. Diana says hello. Private sojourner Tracy says hello. Everybody says hello. We've been all over the board. You know how Roxy conversation goes. We start off on one thing and we end up fussing about the public school system.
Oh, I have plenty to say about that one. But
We've been down our usual rabbit holes tonight. And I just put an open call out to our regulars, and I told them if they wanted to get on air, if they got a subject, let's talk about it. You got a testimony? Let's talk about it. Get on here.
nice.
Carol says hello.
Well, hello.
We are just kind of Rapture says hello. I'm doing a play by play, y'all. She's driving, okay? She can't read the comments and talk and drive, so I'm doing
No.
a play by play here. It's like watching a baseball game.
Yep.
Uh, great
I
night tonight.
had my
Thank you,
tablet
Diana.
to, do it in the back seat, but I did not expect my appointment to go as long as it did, so that's my bad.
Well, girl, you
Feeling.
need to be having your eyes on the road if you driving in LA.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm on my phone now. I'm just glad I got it to work. I wasn't sure with my specialness, so, I
Well,
did
just so
it.
y'all know, Shannon is risking her life and everybody on the road in LA so she can be with us tonight. Say a prayer that Shannon makes it back home safe and sound.
Ah, I'm good. It's watching for other drivers. That's the thing out here.
That's true.
But I mean, I only have like a mile before I hit the freeway, so we're good.
Well, we are in the zone of starting to close everything up for the night. Are we having a show Thursday night, Governor?
Yes, we are, and I know I was going to have the subject matter ready, but yeah, I've been given direction from the Holy Spirit to hold off, and I'm not sure why. So I'm listening, Holy Spirit. Whatever it is, I'm
That's
supposed to
what's
talk about.
important. 'Cause, girl,
Yep.
if they is some people on the internet that can sit around for an hour and a half and talk about the same things and the facts we've learned, it's us.
Oh, for
So
sure.
we don't actually have to have a point in the conversation because we got 900 points to make. So
Oh, easy. That's like that's a given.
that's a
Sometimes
given in
it's
this
it's up
world.
in the millions with me
Yep.
sometimes, and I gotta like calm down. Well, girl, you only need so many thoughts at once, but my brain has a literal mind of its own.
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 computers running in the background keeping track of all the craziness that I be thinking about.
Right.
Um, if anybody out there has not liked or subscribed to our channel, please do so. I am the Roxy Files. Shannon is Children of the Most High. This is East Coast, West Coast besties.
Yeah.
Um, yes, our conversations are electric, private sojourner. I so enjoy talking to you. Um, Da, da, da. I'm sorry. I'm reading comments and talking to you, Shannon, and trying to talk to them. But okay.
Oh,
Everybody
good.
keep Mike in your prayers. Say another prayer for Mike
Yes.
tonight. Um, we want him to get well, to be healed, to be back home, and to be back with us in here. We love us some Mike. And Mike, I don't know if you're listening out there, buddy, but we love you and we miss you. And you got to get better and you got to do it fast because chat just ain't the same without Mike in it. And our
Yeah,
text messages during the day, no Mike.
that's been rough, I gotta say.
We love us some Mike. Mike is a very good human being. So
Yeah.
I need all prayers. Every time you think of Mike's name, every time you say a prayer, just include it in there for us because we need Mike back on his feet, back with us. We will be back Thursday night. If there's a story you want to tell, a testimony you want to give, I am gonna put my email in chat. Very
Yeah,
simple.
because
Roxy's Live.
we really need to get our testimonial Tuesdays going. It just
Yes, we
has
want to
such a
have.
good ring to it.
It does.
It does.
I'm working on a show, Shannon, with Facts. As soon as I can get up with him. Um,
Oh, yes.
For anybody that doesn't know, Fax is over in the UK. So I want to get Fax on air so he can give us a thank you, Big E. He just give a shout out to your channel. You're awesome.
Oh, thanks.
But Fax, I want to get him on here so we can hear what's going on over across the pond. Get some real truth about that because I know they were having a severe immigrant issue over there of some of those immigrants with machetes, if I'm not mistaken. Those tend to be a particular type for some reason. Well, Diana, you need to share with us, honey. You always need to share with us. You got my email. Um, but we will line something up with you, Diana. Shannon, you got to see Diana's jewelry. I will send you a link. She's
Okay.
booked up till after Christmas, but it is awesome. Anyway,
It's okay. I have a birthday in March.
you hear that, Diana? Shannon needs to be on the list for, like first quarter of the year. Diana's a little backed up with Christmas orders. But we're gonna let you go, to guys. Um, we are so glad you were here with us for the conversation. Sorry Shannon couldn't be here with us for more, but we
Mhm.
will be back Thursday night, 6:30 your time,
That is correct.
6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. I don't know what time it is in other parts of the world. You have to do some math. Your smartphone will tell you because I can't right now. Anyway, we will
Or
see
you
you.
and look it up online. Sometimes we gotta do that.
Yeah, we try to set the thing. What's her link? Shannon's. It's children of the most high. What is it? 777
Yep. At gmail.com.
at gmail.com. That is the actual name of the channel, and all you gotta do is put at Gmail behind that, and you get you some Shannon email. Set it up.
Yep.
We'll get you on air. Good night to
Well,
you all.
I hope you all have a blessed night. Give your loved ones kisses and hugs because it's always important. That's my little tidbit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we shall see you all Thursday night. Don't forget us. 7:30 Cash says 7:30 Central for Thursday night. Thank you, Cash. Cash is our central time monitor there.
Thank you.
Um, Diana is on YouTube. Go check her out. She's got some fabulous jewelry. Go follow Shannon if you didn't like, and subscribe to my channel at the Roxy Files. I'm also at theroxyfiles.com. We're always around. You got my email. Shoot me an email. You got a testimony, got a story, don't want to get on there? Just send it there. Let me read it. You need help. You need advice. You need a shoulder to lean on, somebody to talk to. Shout at us. Me or Shannon one will reach back out to you. We got a community board on our YouTube. We're all the time posting music. I posted a couple of songs over there, some bangers. So
Speaking of music,
Uh-huh.
if there was any way to support me in any way, shape, or form, please go and check out my music. I have 3 songs available on all of the major platforms. Some are free and some you have to pay, but I don't care which one. You just go check it out.
And a tidbit, I'm learning to play piano, and I'm gonna play it, and Shannon's gonna sing something. Just watch and see.
Yes. And I am learning how to play the lyre, which is like a little harp. So this will be fun.
We have reached a point in our life where we're learning how to play the harp and the piano, Shannon.
Right? Hey, gotta prep for our angel wings.
20 years ago, we was clubbing. Now we're playing the harp and the piano. Good night, guys. We hope
Good
everybody
night.
enjoyed. Good night.
Good night.